What's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2023, and I want to talk about wounds. Pain does not give you the license to persecute another person's existence. Oftentimes, people, when they hurt people. They feel like they have the right to hurt other people. They feel justified. They feel like, well, I've been hurt, so now I can go out here and not care about anybody. I don't have to care. It gives them a false sense of freedom. And a lot of people take this false sense of freedom and they act recklessly. They become indifferent. They become careless. They become just reckless, like bulls in china shops, just going into people's lives, just wreaking havoc, and they don't care. And they feel they have earned the right not to care because they've been hurt. They've been hurt. They've been disappointed. They've been lied to. And they've suffered abuse at the hands of so many people. So they feel as though they have a right not to care. And they feel justified, you know? And it's this feeling that creates nothing but a cycle of pain. It's perpetual pain. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are acting from their wounds, they're acting from a place of wounding. And they have made an identity out of their wounds. And I think that becomes dangerous because that mentality is why the world is the way it is. You have a lot of people out here not taking responsibility or accountability for their healing, but instead rather glorify their wounds. And truth be told, a lot of people, they like how their wounds look on them. They like the false sense of freedom that they get from their wounds. So they don't want to change. They want to continue to hurt other people and to propagate negativity and to promote anger and the expression of animosity. I'm an empath. And sitting with certain people, you could feel the covert anger. You could feel the undercurrents of rage and anger. And of course, they cover it in kind. They cover it with a smile. They mask it behind a veil of happiness, per se. But it's anger. A lot of anger. And they don't want to express this anger because they know that to express it, it'll lead to shame. It'll lead to guilt. But it's a slow leak. It's a slow leak. I don't know if y'all have ever been around people who they smile, but you know that deep down behind that smile, there's like this tension, this conflict, this turmoil, and this low-key rage that bubbles up underneath the surface. And there's a lot of people who are angry in this world. And they have not yet addressed their wounds because they enjoy the feeling and the benefit. There's a secondary gain that comes from unhealed trauma. And that secondary gain is this false sense of freedom and this recklessness and this indifference to other people's emotions. There's a lack of consideration that people have in this world nowadays because they feel as though they're owed something. They feel justified in their anger. And as long as you feel justified, and as long as you feel that it's okay to vent your anger and your rage on innocent people, then all you're going to do is continue to stay wounded and to stay in pain. Because the reality is you reap what you sow. And if you continue to hurt other people, you're just inviting more hurt to you. You know, what you do to others has already been done to you because you've attracted that back to yourself. The law of attraction states that what you put out is what will come back. There are certain universal laws that when you violate those laws, all you have left is retribution. All you have left is divine discipline. And sometimes that discipline is not pretty. And so I think people need to do the work of healing those wounds and stop making an identity out of those wounds. For years, I made an identity out of my brokenness, out of my sexual brokenness. I felt justified in acting reckless. My father, he wasn't here, he wasn't this, he wasn't that, so I'm just gonna go out here and just act a fool. But the thing about it is this: life will charge you with the responsibility of healing. It will charge you with the responsibility of accountability, because if you don't take accountability, life will take it for you. See, life will take its toll. You know, what you refuse to do, the work that you refuse to do for yourself, is the work that will be done on you. In one way or another, you're gonna have work done on you. Either you change on your own volition, or life is gonna change you. It's just that simple. You can either choose to change right now, or life is going to alter you so that way you're forced to change. And don't let life do it. When life has to force you to change, it usually takes some kind of tragic incident, some kind of heartbreak that alters, some kind of devastation that just completely shifts and transforms you. And sometimes that just leads to more wounds that you have to recover from. So the thing about it is this: long story short, you got to do your work. You got to sit with yourself. You got to meditate. You have to pray. You have to talk with your creator. Talk with God. Talk with Source. You have to basically just really go deep down into those wounded spaces and try to find out the origins. Go back. Sometimes you have to unpack the past in order to move forward. Don't live there. The past is no longer your address, but at the same time you visit to try to help you understand the origins. And when you understand the origins, it's time to actually clean up the stink, move on. Because I think a lot of people are just living out wounds, reenacting old wounds. That's what it boils down to, and they enjoy it. See, that's the thing. You can get to a place in your life, I've realized, you can get to a place in your life where you begin to like suffering. You begin to normalize a certain kind of pain, And I think a lot of people in our generation, they've normalized a certain kind of pain. They've normalized dealing with a certain kind of suffering to the point where when you offer them healing, they're looking at you like, what are you talking about? They're looking at you like healing is something that's wrong because they've normalized dysfunction. They've normalized abuse. They've normalized certain things to the point where healing looks like abuse. And I just think our world is so desensitized. It's so desensitized because in an effort to deal with the abuse, they've somehow aligned themselves with the abuse, and they've somehow co-signed it and glorified even the abuse as a way to deal with it. They've taken the concept of bad and turned it good. And the scriptures, it highlights this. It highlights this point. It says, woe to those calling good bad. I believe it's Isaiah 5:20. I have the scriptures right here. And I believe that's the Bible book. I believe that is, but don't quote me. I'm going to look it up right now. It says, Isaiah 5:20. It says, woe to those who are saying that good is bad and bad is good. Those who are putting darkness for light and light for darkness. Those who are putting bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So it says once again, those who are saying that good is bad and bad is good. That's what our generation is doing. It's taking everything bad and glorifying it to the point where we don't even know which way is up. And I think that as long as we continue to do that, as long as we continue to glorify what is bad, we're going to constantly stay in this perpetual cycle of lost. You have to recognize first that your wounds are not okay. Your wounds are not your identity. Your identity is in a higher power. God didn't create us to suffer. He didn't create us to die. We were intended to live forever. We were intended to have beautiful health, goodness, love, fidelity, honesty, togetherness, family, loyalty. These are the things that we were meant to enjoy forever. But because our parents, they decided they wanted to live independent from God, they wanted to live independent from His rule, this is why we suffer now. This is why we grow old and die. This is why life as we know it right now has been really difficult. So the thing about it is this: as long as we continue to operate from our wounded places, we will continue to stay stuck. What you focus on is where you stay. If you stay focused on your wounds, that's exactly where you stay. It's like you're in suspended animation, still stuck in your wounds, not moving forward. Do you want to grow? Do you want to move forward? Do you want to feel good? Do you trust in happiness? A lot of people don't trust in happiness because they feel it's only temporary. So they feel, something? Pain seems to last longer. So they put all their money and they bet all their fortunes on pain. But as long as you continue to bet the farm on pain, you will never enjoy the prosperity of happiness. So the point of all this is we have to stop living in our wounded spaces. We have to stop living in that space of brokenness. Because if we continue to live in that space, that's exactly where we're going to continue to stay. So I hope this message was helpful. Definitely like, comment, share. Let me know your thoughts in terms of wounds and how you manage your wounds. All right, y'all. Peace.